Hello and welcome back to the Willie Morgan Show with Manchester United icon Willie Morgan. We are back from a short break. We have had lots of football over the last few weeks. It's currently the international break, but the Premier League will be back this weekend with Manchester United versus Newcastle being a game that so many want to see. But first of all, Willie, how are you?
Well, I would imagine, before I tell you how good I am, Newcastle won't be looking forward to it. They won't want to see it, I can assure you. I'm well, obviously enjoying this little break in the weather, which is quite fantastic. And I'm still golfing every day. And yesterday, I went out to play with a pal of mine who's a lawyer, just in case Kate divorces me. I'll keep him on tap, just so I'll be all right. And the two other guys in the team, we joined up. And after we started playing, I asked them what they did. Nigel de Jong,
Yep.
What a nice guy. And he told me, don't be playing golf 3 years. I didn't know he was a footballer at the time, So we played about 4 holes before the other lad, Jordan, Jordan's the new teaching pro at the Mere, where I play. I said, I used to play for Man City. I said, okay. Oh, well, can't have everything in life, can you? So he started laughing, but what a nice bloke, I must say. What a lovely guy. So it was quite enjoyable. And also, again, I've got Alan and Dougie. I know you're watching, and all the people from NG Bailey's down in Reading again. I think we're going to take over England, all these Scots down there. Anyway, I know you all watch. I know you're in the hotel down in Reading watching. I hope McLaughlin's looking after you. John, I know you're watching as well. Make sure these lads are well looked after. And I'll be seeing you next month, I believe. I'm going to pop down to Reading for a little while. So hopefully I will be seeing you all then.
Fantastic. And in terms of the golf, you mentioned Nigel de Jong there. If you were going out and playing, say, a 4-ball, who when you played at United would be the characters that would join you?
Who would I play with?
Yeah.
Well, a regular 4-ball was Paddy Crand. Mainly Paddy, Dennis, and either Alex Stepney, Dave Sadler, and myself. That was a 4-ball when I was at Man U. Nobby hadn't taken golf up then. He was still kicking people. He didn't realise what golf was. So, God rest his soul, Nobby. That was the 4-ball at our time. And then, of course, I spent the last 15 years, 20 years playing with Samat. And as I've told you before, Peter Collins, Danny Curran, that was a 4-ball at Mere. But yeah, it was a good 4-ball. It was a good, Paddy was a good player, Dennis was a good player, Sadie was a very good player, and Steppers, he was good. They were all good. They were all good players. So it was a great club to join for golf because Matt wanted to play. So he used to take us to Lytham. We'd go and get the bus, get the coach, and we'd all go for a day out. So it was fabulous. And still to this day, I don't know if Paddy's still playing. I know Dennis is not playing anymore, and I think Bobby's give it up. And I don't know, I'm the last man bloody standing at the moment. Callum, what can I say? I've got to keep going.
You certainly do have to keep going, and obviously, since the last time recorded, to touch on the sad news, obviously Dennis Law confirmed that obviously he's suffering from dementia. That's quite a few of your former teammates from United that have suffered from this. Any thoughts on that?
I really don't know enough about it. All I look at and say, if you look at dementia across the world, what percentage of footballers? 0.1 or something. So you don't have to be a footballer to get dementia. Does it help? Probably. I really don't know. I don't know that side of it, and it's difficult to comment I think heading those balls back in those days, I mean, the balls were vicious, as you know, especially when it was raining. And I could even reach Dennis's head because it was that heavy. I had to get to the 18-yard box for I crossed it. So, no, who knows? I don't know. You could go on forever saying like boxing. Well, don't box. Don't play football. I really don't know. There is no definitive answer. All I can say is that how many people in the world have got dementia? We don't play football. So I don't think it's football causes dementia. Maybe it doesn't help, but I don't think so. But I don't know. I never headed the ball, as you well know. I used to avoid them. I was 5'9". When I jumped, I was 4 feet 2.
Well,
I made sure the fullback got it every time.
Probably a wise decision. Just to talk about Manchester United so far this season, 2 wins and a draw. Leeds United was a comprehensive victory. They drew at Southampton, one each. Obviously, talk of whether the goal for Southampton was a foul on Fernandes. Then they were quite unconvincing, but managed to beat Wolves 1-0. What have you made of the start so far?
Well, yeah, I've already said, I think we have a big chance to win the league. Only because everybody else is that ordinary. Not because we're great. We're not great. We still got the play, we go over the whole same old thing all the time. And as I've told you, he's off my Christmas card list. Pogba's agent. On the Christmas card list. He said he was going. He's still here. Heartbreaking. So, but in saying that, I still think there's no great teams anymore. It's just someone having a good run, getting the breaks, getting the VAR decisions, having the right people on that VAR. But I still think we've got as good a chance as anyone. I do think it's between the 3. I think Chelsea, United, Man City, after watching them against Leicester, maybe not so much. They were very poor, very, very poor. But I still think United, in spite of the people we still have there, I still think we've got a great chance to win the league this year.
One of the players that you were complimentary of was David De Gea. A lot of people were criticising him. He had a fabulous game against Wolves, made 2 incredible saves. Do you still believe that he has got what it takes to be a steady goalkeeper at this level consistently?
You have to appreciate he's been under the cosh for the last 3 years, 4 years in Man U. We've got no defence. You could take a double-decker bus through our defence. He's been amazing for us. And of course, it gets to you. He's under pressure the whole time. He doesn't get an easy game because our defence is so bad. We're dreadful. We're dreadful at the back. But so is everybody else. Look at Man City. Attack them, you score. Attack Liverpool, you score. No, I think De Gea is a great goalkeeper. He's just been under pressure, great pressure, because he's been getting bombarded week in, week out. And you can only do so much, it has to get to you. I still think he's a great goalkeeper. It's not David De Gea you want to get rid of. It's some of the other back 4. We've been over this. It's old hat. We've just been over it and over it. But hopefully, Ollie will play an attacking team, and it will take the pressure off the defence. If we're attacking, they can't attack us. As Matt always said, well, it's quite simple, really. Best form of defence is attack. They can't attack you if you're attacking them all the time. So I would like to see Ollie play 5 up front and attack people all the time and keep them away from our defence, and we'll win the league. And I know I'm going to get questions later on about Ronnie. So before we chat about him, I think I'll wait for the questions. Callum. Unless you've got any yourself.
I will happily wait just now. In terms of the transfer window, we will talk about Ronaldo, of course we will, but there's been so many players on the move in this transfer window. Lukaku's returned to Chelsea. Jack Grealish going for going for £100 million. Before we talk about the sort of transfer window in general, what's it like when you're involved in a transfer? What was it like for you? Is it nerve-wracking? Are you desperate to get a deal done? Is there a lot of waiting around, or does it happen quite quickly? How was it in your experience?
Don't forget, we didn't have agents. You have to remember, the club owned you. Once you signed on that dotted line, they owned you. They could do what they wanted with you. You had nowhere to go. And when I was leaving Burnley, or when I in the throes of leaving Burnley, no, they wouldn't let me train. They wouldn't let me go to the ground. They wouldn't let me do anything. And they tell me what to do. So I spent the summer pre-season training playing golf. And he had no say. And then the other clubs would approach Burnley in this case, and then Burnley would tell you, so so-and-so's been in, do you want to speak to them? It's not like nowadays. Nowadays they plan the moves. The agents plan the moves. We didn't have that luxury. You know, as I've said before, and if you've read my book on the wing, I signed for Man United for a record fee, and I didn't know what they were going to pay me because I didn't like asking them. It felt really awkward. And I told you, when went back, told my wife, I said, I'm going to sign for them tomorrow. She said, oh, great, what are they going to pay you? I said, well, I didn't like to ask them. She said, really? But you might. I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. I don't think that happens now, funnily enough. I think I might know what I'd be getting before I went. It's a different world, Callum, and it's a world run. You know, in the early days, it was all one way. The club owned you. Now the players own the clubs. Clubs don't own the players. The players own the clubs. It's gone, and it had to go, but it's gone too far. It has to be somewhere in the middle. There has to be somewhere in the middle where it's good for both. At the moment, it's gone from the clubs being in control to the players' agents being in control. And it will go back again. It will change again. It's just time, like everything. It's time. I mean, it's crazy. The money they're paying for these people. I was going to say players then, but half of them can't play. Oh, no, sorry. That's not true. Probably 90% can't play. I was being kind when I said half. It's crazy. It's crazy money. So we'll see, but that's life. That's the way it is, and you just got to get on with it. There's nothing you can do. You just got to. What you can't control, don't worry about.
One of the things that I find intriguing in football is the fact that the clubs pay the agents and the players don't pay the agents as such when there's a transfer. So if Manchester United were signing Willie Morgan tomorrow and I was your agent, they would pay you your wage, pay the fee to Burnley, and they would pay me as well for representing you. Do you think the players should pay their own agent rather than the clubs? And could that maybe help the clubs get back some power if the player's dealing with the agent and they're really only dealing with the player?
You know, it's really quite simple. If the clubs got together and said, collectively, and said, okay, that's the maximum wage you're going to get. Any club is going to pay anyone. And that's the next, that's the next, that's the next. It's such and such an age. Takes the power away from the agents. And it'll get back to some semblance of proper transfers. Do they have the bottle to do that? I don't know. That's down to the clubs. But I say at the moment, it's all one way. It's hey, good luck to the players. Good luck. I wish it had been me. I mean, I wish I had it. Obviously, there were no agents, but of course, I look at it and think, oh, it's fantastic for the player. but it's gone too far, and it has gone too far. And I'm not an advocate for clubs because they ripped us off. Right, like every player in my era, they ripped us off. So they owned you. They did what you want with you. But it has gone too far. And for the supporter, no. I mean, you go to Man United and take a couple of kids, what would it cost you? A couple £100 to go out again? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But I keep saying, could be worse. You could have Donald Trump as your bloody manager. So there we are. It's not that bad.
Just on staying on transfers, it's always a time where things are really hectic. You see, obviously, the speculation on the news. Fans are desperate for new signings. Now, you talked about clubs there. Fans always talk about wanting loyalty from players, but as you say, it's a short career, so you've got to look after yourself. And is that something that you would side with the players on, that loyalty works both ways? Because one day the club's going to be happy to show you the door, so you should really look after yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have to look after yourself. All I can talk about is my era. And you were loyal. You didn't join a club and think, well, I wonder when I can get a move and get more money somewhere else. You didn't do that. You joined a club and you were there and you wanted to play for them. That's why you joined them. It's not like that anymore. I mean, how many times is that dummy of an agent of Pogba's? He's not going to play there anymore. He keep his mouth shut. He's got nothing. It's nothing to do with him. Let Pogba open his mouth and say what he thinks. Don't use this bloody dummy. And he is a dummy. You make him a lot of money, but he's still a dummy. And they shouldn't be in football. They really shouldn't be in football. So, there is no answer. I mean, if there's an answer, Callum, there is no definitive answer. So all you can do is, that's the situation at the moment. You just got to work with what's there. Play the cards you've been dealt and get on with it. Unfortunately, we've been dealt a lot of bad cards. Or the managers have bought a lot of bad players. And whether they can get rid of them because they're paying them stupid wages and no one else will take them, I really don't know. I just look at Messi. And believe me, he was loyal. How loyal can you be? Unbelievable. And the last few years, they've not been the best team because they've had to change players. Players have retired, players have gone. But he stayed, never moaned, never said anything. And it's only because this situations arose where these new rules they have over there. And I believe his tears were genuine. In saying that, it's the best move he'll ever make because he will not win anything in his last few years playing with Barcelona because they're not the team anymore. PSG, no, they're not great, but they're better than Barcelona. They've got a chance. And money's not important to him. He's got enough money now to live 10,000 lives. He wants to win. He wants to be the best player in the world. But to do that, he has to be in a good team. No matter how good you are, if you're in a bad team, baby, you're not going to be the best player in the world. It's just not possible. And I think for him, it's a great, great move. But for people who say they're crocodile tears, no, they weren't. He epitomised loyalty. All I know is that PSG have obviously got untold money, and they're trying to put together a team that will win Europe, win the cup, which is their ultimate goal. I'm sure they'll win the French league, especially with Messi there now. It's whether they can win in Europe. That I don't know. I still think for him, it's a great move because it is half a chance to win honours. He's not going to win anything in Barcelona. They've finished. Barcelona finished. So it's a great move for him. And, I think he's the greatest player. Well, he is the greatest player in the world, I don't think. He is the greatest player in the world by miles. He's the Pele of the last 20 years. And I'm delighted for him. I just hope that it works and that he's happy. But it's not for money. He's not moved for money. He's moved because he thinks he can, Barcelona can't pay him anyway. And the fact that he thinks he can win some trophies. I hope he does.
It certainly will be interesting to watch him and see if they can succeed in Europe, because that's the one competition that so far have really stopped Paris Saint-Germain from maybe claiming to be one of the real top sides in Europe, because obviously they've got a relatively short history. They were formed obviously in the late 20th century, so I think it's one of those where they need a Champions League win, I think, to really claim that they are one of the big boys. And as you say, I think Messi going there gives them a chance. I'll be honest, I would put them as favourites ahead of Man City and the others now.
Man City are not favourites. Did you watch them against Leicester?
I did, yes.
Hey, I've got a team at the Mere, at the golf club. I could get a team there that beat Man City that day. They're dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And Leicester are rubbish. So, as I said, I thought they're one of the three teams that might win the league. But having watched the Leicester game, I think it's maybe down to two now, Chelsea and United. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And of course, I'm waiting on the questions on Ronaldo coming up. I'm sure they'll be very interesting.
Well, let's get to those questions.
By the way, I believe James is gone, isn't he? He's gone to Leeds.
Yes, Daniel James has left.
That's one. There's another 10. Could you give him a ring, the manager, and say there's 9 more? No? Oh, okay.
I'm sure it'll.
Hoping you'd be my agent and do it for me.
I'm sure it'll take time for some clubs maybe to come in and take some of the others, but you just never know. On to the questions, and as you say, we'll cut to the chase. We've talked about Messi, and we'll go on to Ronaldo. Lynn Cameron, big fan of the show, who always supports us. Willie, what do you think of Cristiano Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United? Do you see it as a positive move for the club?
Lynn, I think it's great. We don't have a goal scorer. We don't have a natural goal scorer. We get people who score the odd goal and thing, but we don't have a natural goal scorer. He is. Whatever you say about him, whatever, diving and all this stuff that he does and all that, he scores goals. He's a goal scorer. And at the end of the day, no matter how many Willie Morgan, George Best, who entertain, beat people, at the end of the day, what's football? Scoring goals. So you give me a goal scorer. I remember Franco Faro, Lynn, just to diverse. Father of Faro, as we called him, Frank. He's talking about Puskas. He said all he does is score goals. Just a minute, Frank. Hello. Yeah, he was a coach. He's a goal scorer. If he scores, and I think he will, provided we attack, and that looks like what Ollie's doing, we're attacking, we're trying to attack. If he scores a 20, 25 a bonus, 30 would be phenomenal. We'll win the league. Because you don't have somebody who'll do that. People, Martial, I don't want to get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get him at the thing. But you get Rashford in there. It'll help other players because you take the pressure off them having to score the goals because they're not natural goal scorers. And I think it'd be great. I know it's short term, doesn't matter. I think it'd be great. John,
a question from John asks, are you annoyed United didn't go for Messi?
Yes, of course. We keep telling everyone we're the biggest club in the world, and we are. Go for the best player in the world. Why didn't they go for Lionel Messi? He's there, he's on offer. Go and get him. And put him on the biggest stage in the world, because Old Trafford is the biggest stage in the world. Yes. And could you imagine Messi playing with Ronaldo? That'd be fantastic. Believe me, he would make Ronaldo look like Pele. He'd be that good for Ronaldo. He'd provide so many chances for him. Oh no, I wish we had. My God, I'd even go back myself and watch. And I'd buy my own season ticket just to go and watch Messi. So yes, I wish we had.
And Nick Richards has got a question about Ronaldo as well. He's came back to the club and he's taken the number 7 jersey back from Edinson Cavani, who's now had to take the number 21 jersey. I know you wore number 7 for Manchester United. It's such a historic number. Was a shirt number ever really important to you? Is it something that you demanded, like Ronaldo has in this occasion?
Demanded? Well, he didn't demand anything from Sir Mark Busby, Nick. I asked. I didn't demand. He asked me what I would like, and I said, well, I like playing the number 7 shirt. He said, oh, George plays, that's his shirt. I said, oh. He said, no, it's okay. You can have it. George will play number 11. And he gave me the shirt. But I didn't demand it. I asked politely. So we didn't have the power back in those days. But yeah, I wanted to play number 7 shirt. Just that I played number 7 shirt. I was a right winger. I mean, it's gone on to become iconic. So no matter where you play, you know, a lot of people now, if they're not wingers, they've worn the shirt. You know, Cantona, Brian Robson, Dave Beckham, they're not wingers. But the number 7 shirt was the right winger shirt. And at that time, I was a right winger. So, and so was George. But so George moved to the left wing to accommodate me. So, no, it's, I can understand why he wants a number 7 shirt. Of course. Hope it fits him. I'm not sure the last time I wore it, but I hope they washed it before he puts it back on, Nick.
When you consider the history of Manchester United number 7s, you mentioned Cantona, Robson, Ronaldo, Beckham, obviously yourself, George. When you consider the history of that shirt, how proud are you to have worn that shirt? Because it is the most historic number at such a historic club.
Of course, you know, it goes without saying. Very, very special. And I know that the United fans, there's a thing called the Magnificent Sevens. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a DVD that Manchester United brought out. And the fans voted for the best number 7s in the last 50 years. And of course, I was very lucky to be one of them. It's a great feeling. I mean, even, I know it sounds a bit corny, but when I sign an autograph on anything, I always put Willie Morgan and put 7. It's just something I've been doing for years and years and years and years. And I still do it. So yeah, it means a lot to me. It's something that not many people have done. And I've just been very fortunate, very lucky to be in that position.
A question that I suppose is a pressurised question. It comes in from Grant. If Ollie doesn't win a trophy this season, should he be sacked?
No. If Ollie doesn't sell all the players that I've mentioned before, Grant, yes. But if he doesn't win anything. Honestly, I really do, and I've not said it for a long time. I think we've got a great chance to win the league. Not because we're great, because we're not. And we still got a load unbelievably average players there. But so is everybody else. There is no great team anymore. There is not one team going to dominate. Anyone can beat anyone. But I think with a little bit of luck, and if he continues to play attacking football as best we can with what we've got available, I think we've got a great chance this year. But you still got to get... Yeah, if he doesn't get rid of the players I mentioned, Grant, I would sack him at Christmas. But I don't know whether it's down to him or not. You know, they've got so many people in the background these days. I don't know how it works anymore. It used to be the manager, but probably not anymore.
A few questions before we go from our good friend Otterman, who likes to write in, and I hope he's doing well. I was on a tour of Old Trafford, and the guide said that some of the players used to have a nip of whiskey before games. Did you do that?
No, we didn't have a nip of whiskey. Well, not in my era. You had a nip of sherry. So Ottoman, it wasn't whiskey, it was sherry. And it was supposed to make your breathing, open your breathing up. But you know, back in my day, it wasn't quite as, how can I put it? There weren't so many medical things and nutritional, all diets and all sorts. Before a match at 12 o'clock, 12:30, you had a big steak and you were allowed a nip of sherry. And apparently steak's the worst thing that anyone could eat before they go to do anything, because it takes 48 hours for your body to break it down. The things we couldn't have was ice cream, chocolate, which turned out to be the best things you could eat before a match or before you play tennis or before you play anything, because it goes in your body. If it's in your body, steak doesn't. But yes, it was a nip of sherry. It wasn't whiskey, unless another manager brought that in, which I doubt. It was sherry, but that was back in the 60s, early 70s.
He also asks, obviously based on the ritual with the whiskey, which obviously turns out to be sherry, did you have any other pre-match rituals that you used to stick to?
Any pre-match rituals? Yeah, going around trying to get free tickets for all my pals that stood outside the players' entrance. So, eventually, because we used to kick off at 3 o'clock, Ottoman, as you know, back in those days. And at 3:15, you know, the gaffer was saying Jimmy Murphy out. I'd be outside trying to, my pals, it's 3:15, get changed. No, we everyone was different, you know, everyone was different, but to alleviate, I don't know what pressure, we didn't really, you know, we were too thick to know what pressure was. Don't forget, we were from very poor backgrounds. The word pressure, we'd never heard of it, so we didn't know what it meant. I used to get undressed as late as possible. All matches. I mean, some of the hairy times I had when we were playing away, when I'd go outside and the players' entrance wasn't, Chelsea was the worst. It was about a 500-yard walk back to where you came through the railings to go to the dressing rooms. So to go out and meet your pals, you had to go and walk. It was miles. So, no, I say everyone was different. That's how I handled it. Just get undressed as late as possible. Just go out and play.
The other question he's got a hat-trick here. How hard was it for you to adjust to normal life after retiring?
I did, Ottoman, I never retired. When I came back from America, 4th year, playing all the year round, what I did from 77, I played all the year round. I played in America during the summer, straight back in the season, because they overlapped. And I did that for 4 years non-stop, without a break. I didn't have a summer break. I didn't have a break at all. And I was playing something like 100 and odd matches a year. And I was in my, middle, late 30s. And I just got tired. And when I came back the last time, I lived in Altrincham. And I had a choice. I could have gone to Man City, or I could have gone to Leeds. And Man City I didn't want to go to because, obviously, just because. And Leeds was, to commute to Leeds would have been hard work. You know, it's probably an hour and a half easy, depending on the traffic. So I never actually retired. I never announced a retirement. I just stopped playing. And I played a lot of golf, and that helped. But it is hard. It is hard. There's no highs anymore. But you don't know that until you actually finish. You don't appreciate the highs that you're experiencing while you're playing, because they were phenomenal. So life becomes, and that's why so many players from my era and, you know, not so long ago, life becomes humdrum. You know, just boring. No highs, no lows. And they start gambling and starting to drink, and so many of them been hurt. Golf saved me. You know, just playing golf. I played golf. I played golf to earn a living. I played golf for money, and not the same. Obviously, there's nothing like walking out Old Trafford in front of 63,500 and singing your name. It's phenomenal, but it helped. It helped greatly, and I gambled a bit, just like they all did. And you gamble, yeah, you get to where you don't. It hurts if you lose, otherwise it don't mean nothing. So it's. I've just been lucky. You know, I've had great friends, and great friends. And then I started in 1987, 5 years after I retired, because it was hard. I started the thing for the NSPCC, the Haverkill Golf Classic. Peter Collins, my pal, was on the board and asked me to put together a celebrity golf day for the NSPCC, which I did. And that was a great help as well. It turned me grey. And I used to have black hair. But it was unbelievable stress. It's incredible to put on this golf tournament. It was very successful. It ran for 27 years. So no wonder, hey, pure white. But it is difficult. People have no idea. They say, yeah, you know, if you're all right. It's not. The highs are so high. It's just so high. You know, like you said, you walk out with the number 7 shirt on, captain of Manchester United. People singing your name all night. You can't do that. So, but I am a great believer. Since my dad gave me a scalp on the head and told me, enjoy the publicity, don't believe it, now go and get the coal on. That was well, by the way. So, in fact, it helped greatly. I do enjoy the publicity, but obviously I don't believe it. So, still here, still with Callum, still hopefully still doing this for a little while.
We've got a message, obviously, from Kevin Watson, just to conclude the show, saying he's coming down to the Manchester United Everton game, and he's hoping that he can meet up with you, Willie. So that's a nice message from Kevin, who's a massive fan of yours and Manchester United.
Yeah, I know Kay, my wife Kay's heard from him and replied, so he's going to come along, him and his lad, and say hello before the match.
Brilliant. And in terms of the rest of the listeners, anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Just as always, keep safe, and may your God go with you.
Absolutely. And fingers crossed United can stuff Newcastle at the weekend and get off to a flyer.
Well, we could stuff Newcastle. That's 2 of us.
Well, I think that sums it up. Until next time, see you later.
Take care.